Because there's been several times, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. I didn't put this coochie in the air so that I could get that out of me because I've always drank a lot of water. Baby, I can't hold water. All my life, I've been waiting for you. No, how you do. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tip your favorite narrator via Cash App at $NAROB on YouTube. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Hey y'all, the paying members, they already know. Now, you all will know. Let's begin reading Angel on My Shoulder by Natalie Cole. Y'all, don't forget, the puppies are right here. Well, there's one and there's two. So if you hear snorts and grunts and stuff like that, you know it's the puppies. Well, Lulu's 3. The baby ain't a year yet. Of course, my childhood wasn't all music. I loved outdoors, and I made myself very familiar in our neighborhood. I was a Girl Scout, and I went door to door selling cookies. The times had changed enough so that the neighbors who had been so hostile when the Coles moved in had finally come around some. To them, I was Little Miss Sweetie. Of course, a lot of times I was ringing doorbells. I wasn't selling no cookies. I had the best time ringing doorbells and disappearing. I was a bit of a prankster. Aunt Lala had ingrained in my mother the importance of education. Thank goodness I was a pretty good student as a child. Both Cookie and I went to 3rd Street School during our early years, which is the neighborhood public grammar school in Hancock Park. After that, my sister went to John Burroughs Junior High School in Hancock Park and moved on to Los Angeles High, which she liked way too much. LA High was a true melting pot of races, nationalities, and social classes. My sister was classically pretty, and by this time she had a hot little body. I think that she was having way too much fun at LA High because my mother said, "You're out of here," and bang, she was over at Girls Only Immaculate Heart, where she learned to wear a uniform and be prim and proper. Mom wanted to send her to the nearby private Marlboro School for girls, but at that time, they had an all-white policy. I was still laughing at Carl's Catholic school punishment when Mom plunked me down in Cathedral Chapel, a strict Catholic grammar school where I attended grades 6 through 8. Gotcha. Dad had nothing to do with these decisions. He wasn't home enough to really have a say in these matters, and he would have done almost anything to make my mother happy. Besides, it would not have occurred to him to intervene in something that was so obviously within her area of expertise. Dad was born Nathaniel Adams Coles on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 1919 in Alabama. He dropped the S from the end of his last name when he got into the music business. Remember when Marvin Gaye added an E to his name because he didn't want to be Marvin is Gay? Having grown up in my father's shadow as the daughter of Nat King Cole, It's strange to think that today there are many who really don't know who he was. Having started out as a jazz singer and pianist in the 1940s, he was one of the first black artists in popular music to appeal to white audiences. That popularity meant that he was in great demand as a concert performer and spent a great deal of time on the road. By the 1950s and early 1960s, as I was growing up, my father had become one of the most popular singers of his day, and his songs regularly hit the Billboard Top 10. Mona Lisa, Unforgettable, and Nature Boy were some of his biggest hits. Dad's upbringing couldn't have been more different from my mother's. There were no somebodies in his family, meaning that, remember how we discussed Aunt Lala and all of Aunt Lala's accomplishments? His family just was regular folk, okay? And ain't nothing wrong with that because everybody is somebody. But you know what the sentiment is that she's trying to relay. His father, Edward, was a poor Baptist preacher who moved the family to Chicago in the 1920s. His mother, Perlina, was a preacher's wife. Dad had 3 brothers, Eddie, Freddie, and Ike, and 2 sisters, Evelyn and Eddie Mae. The family never had a lot of money, even after they moved north, and they were not cultured. The times that I have dealt in my younger years, but the times that I had dealt with somebody that I was like, oh my God, you are a wild beast. You don't have no manners. None. You don't have, your mother ain't even teach you to close your mouth when you chew. In the times that I was, as they call, wilding, because there's been several times, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, I didn't put this coochie in the air so that I could get this, that out of me, because I've always drank a lot of water. Baby, I can't hold water. The family never had a lot of money, even after they moved north. And they were not cultured. They were very devout. Dad's parents didn't want him to be a secular musician at all. They wanted him to stay in church and play the organ. My Uncle Freddie told me that when they refused to get him a piano, Dad painted the 88 black and white keys of a piano keyboard on the windowsill to practice. Well, I mean, he's a Pisces. He is a creator. For someone who grew up like Dad, from a social standpoint, my mother was a great catch. She was a beautiful, light-skinned woman of elegance and refinement. And he was a dark-skinned man without a lot of education who could sing and play the piano. Despite his wealth and fame, Dad was the one who had married above his station, and my mother's family never let him forget it. Let's talk about it. Maybe he stayed with her, one, because this is still like the early or the mid 1900s. Black men stayed with their families, and this was not a time where he could openly get with a white woman, but he had several affairs with white women, from what I understand. So he probably had a point to prove. He had the mind frame that I must stick with my family. And this woman is such a great accomplishment that I must stand beside her. Okay? And he is Nat King Cole. Let me remind you that a lot of times when women are like, why would he be with her? She's white trash. Speaking of maybe hee-haw girl, I don't know you hee-haw girl. I'm just saying she could be white trash. And he could feel more comfortable with being with the white trash than his uppity baby mama / wife. He can't let his hair down per se with his wife. It's like he always have to be on guard. There's always a facade. But when you're dealing with the hee-haw girl, the white trash, then he can be him. With the notable exception of Baba, my mother's sister, her family generally disapproved of him. It was bad enough that he was too black. In those days, there were a great deal of inter-racism prejudice by blacks against blacks, and dark was considered socially inferior to pale. My mother called it a matter of breeding. Worse still, he was married when he met my mother. Worst of all, he was an entertainer, which they considered an unseemly profession. Damn. Oh, he was married when he met her. When my parents were newlyweds, great aunt Lala, horrified that her Episcopalian niece had married a Baptist, recently divorced lounge singer, did the correct thing and arranged a wedding reception for the newlyweds at the Canary Cottage in Sedalia. But she herself refused to grace the party with her presence. The wedding itself was big time. The Reverend Adam Clayton Powell married them on Easter Sunday, March 28, 1948, at his famed Abyssinian Baptist Church at 138th Street and Lenox Avenue in Harlem. The church was packed, and several thousand people stood on the sidewalk for a glimpse of the couple. After a honeymoon in Acapulco, well, the honeymoon was over. The mutual distaste between the two sides of the family created a lot of tension in my parents' marriage and made life awkward for us kids as well. Mom made it pretty clear that she didn't have much in common with Dad's relatives except Dad. Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with you and your niggism. Those are niggas. We not niggas. My father was a populist. He loved movies and took us frequently. I'm not sure if it was my first movie, but one I remember very vividly as a child is the Walt Disney animated classic Fantasia. It scared me and fascinated me. Dad never tired of seeing It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, and we laughed ourselves silly together several times. During one viewing, Dad laughed so hard that he literally fell out of his seat. Our family watched a lot of television too. In 1956, my father made history with the Nat King Cole show. He is sometimes incorrectly described as the first black performer to star in his own primetime network TV show. But he would be quick to point out that both Hazel Scott and Billy Daniels had preceded him. I don't think we kids ever thought about there being anything historical about his program. For us, it was just great to see Dad and some of his friends that we have grown up with, such as Mel Torme, Ella Fitzgerald, and Tony Bennett. It was a good thing, however, that the Nat King Cole show wasn't competing with I Love Lucy, because my sisters and I were loyal viewers of both. To me, Lucille Ball is one of the funniest white women on this earth. I can't even think of anybody, black or white, who I would believe would be funnier, except for that Tina Fey, Kirsten Wiig. It's Minnie Riperton. I mean, not Minnie Riperton, y'all, forgive me. Maya Rudolph. Those three. When I tell you, whenever they in a movie together doing anything, that shit is hilarious. Okay, so I would put up at the top Lucille Ball and Maya Rudolph would be my all-time funny women. Maya's not white. She's just half white, but she's hilarious. We never missed Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And we watched a lot of scary movies on Saturday afternoons, which was my favorite time to see them. I was glued to the tube. Frozen with Terror by Frankenstein, Dracula, The Wolfman, and all those crazy old black and white horror flick movies. Me too, girl. TV watching aside, there was always a lot going on at our house, and it would have been easy enough to spend my whole childhood watching the world come to see me. I was 8 years old the first time I went away to summer camp, and I was devastated. Me too.